Okay, we are live. What's up? It's your boy DJL7, and today I have a guest I'm quite interested to learn about him. I really don't know really anything about him, but we're going to learn about him right now. So why don't you quick introduce yourself? Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Peter Morris. I'm a lawyer and a journalist, and also kind of like a advocate or activist for Myanmar, which is what I've been doing for like maybe 16 years now. And yeah, that's me.
Interesting. Okay. I think are you in Japan right now?
hmm
But
hmm
Myanmar is actually where is that? Is that in Asia somewhere?
Yeah, so Myanmar, it's
I have to. I don't know my geography that well.
it's kind of in between Thailand, India, and China. It's like
Okay,
squeezed
I
in
know that
between it.
general
It's
area.
a really Yeah, it's a really kind of geostrategic location, and that's one of the reasons why it's like so hot.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like when it opened up in 2011, everyone was like scrambling to get in there because it was like a gold rush because it's like one of they call it the last frontier market in Asia.
Okay.
So like the
Somehow
really
this.
undeveloped
Okay.
place and
I'm gonna actually. So have you? Wait a second. Have you been to Myanmar? Okay,
yeah.
cool. So just so you know, right? Yeah, there's. This is a point of, I guess conflict between some friends. It's all good though. I really don't know what's going on, but I do like to listen to primary sources. I'm very happy to have you on. But actually, this is the activist interview. Maybe we'll come back to. We're gonna find out. But this is the online activist interview series, and we really follow like a set series of questions. So I'm gonna get to them right now. Now, the first of all, you're an activist. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now when we look at your activism, everybody kind of starts their journey in a different way. Like maybe a certain age, or maybe like they, what kind of started you in this whole activist journey?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I think I was active earlier, but what really got me inspired was Bernie. I was living in Asia, living in Thailand, doing Myanmar stuff, and then um, around 2015, a few different things happened, and which prompted me to leave Thailand and go back to the States. And one of those things is I was inspired by Bernie. I wanted to get involved in his revolution, and somehow I wound up working as campaign manager for this guy that was running for Congress to represent my hometown, and he was also a like a Bernie-crat.
Okay.
And yeah, that's kind of how I got started. But with Myanmar, that was earlier. Like I got started with Myanmar back in 2008, and that was because I was interested in refugee issues.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Do you have any? Are you like part Myanmar? I can't really tell you ethnicity, but is Myanmar like somewhat related to ethnicity or something? Like, were you going back home or something, or what? Like, why Myanmar?
Oh no, well, I mean, so
I have no idea.
during
Go ahead.
college during college I was in Boston, and there's a pretty large Cambodian community there,
Hmm.
and I had some Cambodian classmates, including my girlfriend, and so they taught me about the Cambodian genocide and refugee and most of them were technically, I mean, they were kids, but they were refugees. They were kids when they left, and a lot of them don't remember a lot, but they're refugees, and so they taught me about the refugee experience. um, and so yeah, so then once I found out about the Myanmar refugee situation, which in terms of scales is well, maybe I shouldn't say that,
Wait a
but it's
second. Give me a
also a big
second. Yeah.
problem.
Did I, is there
Yeah,
something like a Myanmar massacre or something like that?
Myanmar massacre. Yeah, so you're probably referring to the Rohingya genocide. Is that
I
is
remember
that what you're
something like
referring
that.
to?
I'm so sorry. I know there's a lot of. I just learned to discount like all information from overseas just because being Korean American, like I really just felt the news wasn't really being reported, so I just really didn't trust. I learned
Yeah.
not to trust any information from overseas. So anything coming across, I know like there's history and stuff. Plus, if we can't know what's going on in this day and age, right? Yeah, which I don't believe that I have accurate information about anything. then how can I trust some
Yeah.
shit from, like, like for the past? Like, there's no way, I mean, no way. The people who won
Mhm.
got their hands all over the narrative and tampered with it, you know what I mean? And we're learning about some BS. I mean, I'm not saying it's all bad. It's a nice story. But I don't trust,
Mhm.
but I trust primary sources. So if you were actually there, like, I want to hear. I want to know what's going on. Like, I really appreciate that, actually. So
Mhm.
this Myanmar massacre, yeah, what was that?
Okay, so you might be referring to the Rohingya genocide. So that was in 2017, and what happened was basically, like many things, it's all Mark Zuckerberg's fault.
Really? Maybe? Maybe
So,
it's mining or some shit. I don't know what's going on.
so, so what happened was, well, there's always been some tension between Buddhists and Muslims in Myanmar, especially in a place called Rakhine State, which is where most of the Rohingya ethnic uh, community lives or used to live before they got
Oh, let me
driven
just,
out.
Tom, just so you know, we're live streaming. I'm live streaming an interview. Like, I don't mind. You can jump in.
Oh,
But just
okay,
so you
that's
know, I
fine.
don't know if you
I
want to
think
be
I'll
on
turn my
camera or
video.
anything, yeah? It's up to
I'll
you.
turn my
It's
video.
up to you.
Oh, Tom's back.
Tom's back.
I'm back.
Tom's back.
Tom's
I'll,
back.
I'll be voice only.
That's okay.
Uh,
Yeah, this is the online activist interview, folks. We're going to have some other questions about some other things going on, but this is the series. So one thing we're talking about, right, what started you in activism, right, and we're talking about, right, your experiences in Myanmar. Now let's go on to the next question. Now the thing is that some people, activists, they'll like have like a certain ideology. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm socialist, I'm capitalist, I'm a centrist." Do you have an ideology that defines your outlook, political outlook?
That's a really good question. I mean, to me, it's obvious that capitalism as it's practiced now doesn't work. I mean, that's not a big surprise. Like even the so-called proponents of the proponents of so-called neoliberalism admit that it's not working. Um, and then on the other side, I guess you could say it's like socialism or Marxism or whatever. And I don't know if that works. I mean, so I get. I mean, I think we should try to come up with some kind of hybrid system.
Okay. Any like, okay, there's different, like, some systems are centralized, some systems are decentralized. Do you have an opinion on that?
Oh,
Um,
can
well,
I
I mean,
can I ask a question?
go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. Have you heard of Michael Albert and the whole participatory economics thing? Do you have any comments
Tom,
on
I'm
that?
having trouble hearing you. Is it hard for you to hear as well, Peter?
Yeah.
Tom, you're very low,
Oh,
yeah?
okay.
But by the way, this is really Peter's interview, yeah? Actually, we could you could answer the same question if you want to, yeah? But then I would also want to ask you a
Oh,
question about, right, Tom, if you want to really
how
hear
about
some stuff.
now? Can you
Oh,
hear
I can hear you
now?
much better now. So,
Yeah.
Tom,
Okay.
how did you start? We're at the very beginning now. How did you start your activist journey? What's the first
Well,
thing you
okay.
got
So
involved?
I think I want to be anonymous first of all,
Your
just to.
name's on the screen, bro. Like, you don't have to say it. Like, okay, you don't have to answer the questions. Like, it's up to you.
Well, no, no. My name is just Tom R, right?
Okay,
Which
yeah,
is
just
okay.
Tom R.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So, okay. Well, actually, here's what I was imagining. First of all, yeah, I think this was creative of you to do this, and I support the idea. It's great that you guys are doing this, and I will learn about Peter. But maybe I could briefly answer the question, what got me into activism? I think I was a lurker from the get-go. Okay, so what I mean by that was I was about, I don't know, 9 years old, and uh, during the Vietnam War when I became aware of that. And as a kid coming, I was lucky enough as the white boy in the suburbs, and I could come home from lunch and I would watch two shows. I'd watch the Today Show, and then I'd watch some more news at lunch, and then I'd watch Walter Cronkite, and we would get real body counts. We saw caskets. We saw coffins with red flags in whatever those transport planes are, the KC-130s or whatever the hell they were. And we saw the guys in the rice paddies with their M16s. We saw literally film footage. Okay, I don't know what it would be, what millimeter footage. And I had two older sisters, one who was at Madison during the all the demonstrations. We had like these Archie Bunker style, all in the family dinner. She'd bring a boyfriend home, and my father would argue with them about the Vietnam War. So, so I was exposed to all this activism, and I imagined that my sister was very anti-war, and her boyfriend was from New York. So I got exposed to all this counterculture stuff as a young, yep, very young man, 12, 13 years old. And then my other sister was from the 50s. I mean, she was older by 2 years, and so she was dressing in mid-length skirts and high heels and playing bridge in a corporate culture. And then eventually she got a divorce, and then she played catch up and became a hippie. Okay. But, yeah. So that's a little bit of the background.
Hippies are cool.
Yeah.
Down with that.
Oh yeah. So I continued to dialogue with an 80-year-old.
I really
medic-
started in the activist movement, hang out with hippies, like really. I kind of
Yeah,
hang out
yeah.
with hippies.
So I think
know.
what I want to do is just ask a question of Peter, which is, what does he think about like Noam Chomsky and Albert and participatory economics, which is not Marxism. And if you don't have an answer to that, that's fine. I want to go make myself something to eat, but I can mute myself and listen to this
Wait,
conversation.
wait. You got to explain what participatory economics is first.
Oh, okay. Well, it's if you look up Z Magazine, that's been around for quite a while. I think Michael Albert set up a business, a printing business, and it's sort of modeled within this business. So I believe Albert was an instructor. Albert was also a dropout from MIT, but he hung out with Noam Chomsky for hours and hours, and they had all kinds of discussions. Albert's still very active. He's got a podcast, and I listen to it. It's he drones on, but what it is the idea that the workers, kind of like Chomsky's idea that the workers, every Friday, they don't work. They just sit down, they all get together, and they all discuss the future of the organization that they're going to work on. And at a higher level, the whole economy leaves it up to, I don't know if there's some sort of central plan.
Before you say anything, right? Yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to cut in right quick just for a second, okay?
Right, sure.
Noam Chomsky. All right, I really don't like this guy. Yeah,
Right.
Noam, okay, you were out there hanging out with these people's party shit, and PSL and shit, okay? Are they
PSL,
doing-
PSL,
okay,
and
whatever the fuck
Marxism
it
is big in
So,
in my
I'm just
city.
saying, right, I'm
there's-
not. If you're a Marxist, if you're a fan of PSL, I'm not mad at you. I know some of y'all mean well, but I'm telling you
Right.
right now, Noam Chomsky, are they having those Fridays in fucking PSL? Because if they're not, then it's bullshit. You know what I mean?
No. I am not
What
a.
he preaches. I want to know because honestly, it don't seem like that way to me.
Okay, I'm not a
I'm sorry.
trot.
Not
I
that
was.
he doesn't have good ideas, but is he once again in the?
I am not.
Is he
do
doing
not.
What he's
I
talking about. I want to know because I don't think so. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. I am not a fan of Chomsky. Okay, I don't approve of his position on
You know what?
9/11. Yeah,
I came
I'm
with
just
Hawks, bro.
not a fan of Chomsky. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Albert
Yeah.
Albert is still of interest to me, okay? And I'm still learning from him. He's got this whole complicated participatory economics. Another thing that he believes in is rotating positions in a job. You take somebody off the factory floor and you put them into accounting, or you put them into an executive position. You take the person that's the executive and you put them out on the factory floor. You get everyone, you rotate these positions. With respect to PSL, yeah, they're a factor where I am. I don't believe in them. I was in a Marxist group learning about Chomsky. I didn't read Marx. I come from a very competitive family. The Marxist stuff, it doesn't quite fit for me. It just I haven't figured out I'm still trying to figure out what makes sense to me. So, that's about all I think I should say for now.
What about the participatory economics? Did you understand? Because I really wasn't. Just one more time, what is participatory economics?
Oh, what is it? Okay. Well, so the workers decide at a higher level, somehow this guy, Michael Albert, believes that the people decide what to produce. They literally decide how many washing machines society needs. So competition doesn't take care of that. Now, he hasn't filled in the blanks for me as to how they're going to do that. That's kind of scary to me. But that's one of the things he believes in. What beyond that? Self-governance, democracy within a work situation. He has a dialogue going with Yanis Varoufakis, the guy from Greece that was involved in that whole Cipro thing, in the meltdown with the IMF. Those two dialogue with each other. They both wrote novels recently that are intended to model their vision of utopia.
Okay, so wait a second.
So,
Okay. Peter, what do you think about this participatory economics thing?
Well, I mean, I still don't fully understand it, but I mean, the rotating thing sounds interesting. It sounds like an interesting idea.
Yeah, I
okay,
like that. That was sounded like, yeah.
right.
I'm not but once again, if people don't want to do it, then you can't really make them. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I think
Japanese companies, they what they do traditionally is rotate people around to different departments so they get experience in different
agree.
types of work.
Yeah.
I think that's a
I see
great
the value in
idea.
it. I do, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So okay, we're gonna go on right. Once again, it's not about what I think; it's about what you guys think. So this is really your interview. I appreciate you being a part of it. So now we're gonna actually this is gonna help us to maybe focus it now. I know Tom was really kind of like not really honestly I'm an anarchist myself, right? But I think that you said that you were maybe non-capitalist, right? Or right, you're not really sure, but maybe you're influenced by a certain person. So sometimes people say they're Republican, they'll say, "Oh, I'm a Trump Republican," or "I'm a Reagan Republican," right? Maybe.
Well, I'm a Bernie-crat. I'm a Bernie-crat.
Oh, so you're a Bernie-crat. Okay, yeah. Okay, interesting. Tom, do you have a certain person that's maybe been influential to your politics?
I have a long list of people that I look up to, and I was trying to think of how to capture a simple word or a hashtag for models of people that I
Are
believe
there
in,
someone
and I
who's like
think
the most like who's the like
well,
top three?
like sage, somebody who's both heroic and has wisdom and knowledge, and right now the people that I'm looking up to are people in the health freedom movement. So I think what's going on right now, my main issue right now is that in this concern that there is a real effort um, towards catapulting deceitful propaganda that is going to lead towards our physical harm. So I'm ignoring your question. I realize that,
No,
and the
actually, it's
reason
going
is
there. Actually, that's exactly where the question's going.
so one of the icons for me right now is JJ Couey, and he's doing a podcast out of his garage, okay? And he doesn't have a source of income right now. He worked for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. briefly, and then he worked for Children's Health Defense. And he reminds me to some degree of you, Elf Seven. In this respect, he makes relatively rapid judgments of other people's character, and then
Is it right?
and then he will actually show some compassion for those same people that he's made a judgment. You know, and he but he's now in a there's another guy in Tokyo. And so Peter, it's interesting that you're in Tokyo. There's a guy in Tokyo, his name is Kevin McCarran. And Kevin McCarran, if we have this concept of a sage, right? Then we need like a hashtag for somebody who's, I use the word culpable. Like that's almost short enough to be a hashtag. This might be somebody who's responsibly misleading other people. Okay.
Oh boy.
So the
So
question,
in other words, I should not look this guy up.
well, see, okay, so the way that the way that Kui frames things, Kui's trying to leverage social media to come up with simple memes, right? We all know how powerful it is. So one of the memes that he comes up with is team worst case scenario, right? So I can remember looking around my attic. I knew that I had a mask somewhere up in the attic. This is like in March of 2020. They got me scared enough to go look for a mask. I couldn't find a mask. It was ridiculous. I ended up finding a sanding mask. You know what I mean? For power sand, because nobody knew what the hell was going on, right? So they put in out so much fear. So Kui has this concept called team worst case scenario, and so he would put Kevin McCarran, who lives in Tokyo and I think has a Japanese wife, and actually is somebody I'm still trying to entertain. Okay, so have you guys heard that term, cognitive dissonance? Have you heard that term?
Yes.
Yeah, but I forgot what it means.
Well, all right. So I was pulling back from that term and trying to describe what I am going through with respect to certain models of reality in the COVID world. And what I would say is that I am unsettled. Does that make any sense? In other words, I'm entertaining multiple hypotheses simultaneously. Now, if you're doing that subconsciously, I think that's what's known as cognitive dissonance. And so that somebody is told that, oh, the jabs are harmful, but then, or say they're in line for the jab and somebody drops dead right in front of them, right? They drop dead and they're in line. This person has just been jabbed, and they walk away from being jabbed and they drop dead, and they stay in line. I think they may have a little bit of cognitive dissonance, right? It's like, I'm about to get this jab, but in the back of my head, maybe it's not safe, right? So
yeah, like a contradictory thoughts or subconscious thoughts or something.
Right. But I have on the table, on the work table, I've got multiple different theories in this realm, and so in a friendly way, I would say Kevin McCarran, he's in team worst case scenario. He believes in the prion spread, and somebody like, so I have in my head.
What is that?
Okay, so if do you remember the movies from the 50s? There were these horror movies. There was the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then there was the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and there were these
I've heard of those.
50s. Yeah. Okay, so what a zombie will do is they will bite you on the neck, and when they bite you on the neck, you turn into a zombie, and then you're positioned to go bite someone else on the neck. Now this actually happens on on a molecular level, and it's called prion disease. And so what's different? What zombies cannot reproduce, they can't have sex.
No, I might actually be up to have you heard of mad cow disease?
There you go. Exactly right. That's mad cow disease is in Wisconsin.
They fed
Okay.
the cows to the other cows. They ate the brains. Now I'll tell you exactly what it is. The thing is that our body makes proteins, but the thing is that, like, you know, DNA, right? Yeah, you know how DNA self-replicates.
Right.
But protein, if it has a certain shape, can also have this particular. It doesn't have to be shaped like DNA, mind you, but it does have this self-replicating quality to it. So the
wait. No, I'm going to call you out on that. Prions do not replicate.
Well, not really.
They spread. They spread. It's just like the zombie, and it has to do with protein folding.
Yeah.
It's like protein folding. So McKernan has this team worst case scenario thing that there's this latent prion disease, like a time bomb that's going to go off 2 or 3 years after people get jabbed, and we're going to have this catastrophic die-off. Okay. And so this is a doomsday scenario that Kevin McCarran has. All right.
Okay.
And then there's other theories about which may or may not be true about the explosion in cancer and so
Well, the
forth
thing
and
is
so.
that really, okay, this, right, we're really here to find out about you guys. So I'm going to ask Peter right now. Why I like Tom's answer right there was because really, when I asked about Bernie, I really want to understand why you like Bernie. So, right, if you listen to Tom, right, he explained what he liked about the producers. He likes people that are sages. He likes people that come up with solutions. He likes people that sacrifice, right? Yeah. So I listened to his values right there. So what about Bernie, right, made you really so
Yeah.
inspired by him?
Well, I think I mentioned it like during our earlier conversation on Zoom today. Is basically like I think myself and a lot of other people, like when you hear someone go up there and say, um, you know, the question is, do you have the guts to stand up to the insurance industry? Do you have the guts to stand up to big pharma, et cetera, et cetera? So, yeah, I mean, someone who gets up there and is willing to say that and do that and lead that kind of movement, like that was really, yeah, that was
All right.
really kind of powerful for me.
Cool. Okay. The next question, right, will be okay. There's different people
Mm,
with different levels. Like I said before, when I introduced you off camera, I told you like
mhm.
there's different. I have over 100 interviews with different activists. Please check out my online activist interview series. And the thing is that different people have achieved different things in the activism game. I ask people, what are you most proud of, and don't answer like, my kids, right? I'm not saying that your kids are not like worth anything. I'm saying like with regards to activism specifically, right? Like maybe
Yeah, yeah.
a policy, or maybe you stood up for someone, or you advocated for something. What are you most proud of accomplishing?
Well, so far, I think I've only really accomplished one thing, and that's the thing I'm most proud of, which is that I just put this on my LinkedIn page. So basically, I was the brainchild for this campaign called the Smoke Free Walk. Now I know you're a smoker, so just bear with me on this.
Really?
Just bear with me on
Who,
this.
me? Go ahead.
I I
I man, no, it's okay. I appreciate it. I probably should. Yeah,
I
I definitely should.
I actually used to be a smoker myself, but one of the reasons I quit is because both of my grandfathers died from smoking. And so when I lived in Tokyo around 2005 and six, I was like surprised. I was like, wait a minute, why do they still allow smoking inside restaurants and cafes around here? This is like the 21st century. And so I was like, okay, I want to do something about it. And so I joined some NGO in Tokyo. They call it NPO here, nonprofit organization. I joined some NPO here in Tokyo. I went to a bunch of their meetings, and at one point I was like, wait a minute, how come we're not like going on the streets? How come we're not doing anything about this? We're just sort of talking. And so yeah, I had this idea. We have kind of like, I mean, basically a demonstration, but it was also sort of a design to like raise awareness. So it's kind of like an educational type of thing. Like we had a walk, a smoke-free walk down Chuodori, which is like the one of the main streets around here, and we had like signs, and then like the one of the key things is that we had a bunch of people like hand out pamphlets because we wanted to raise awareness and stuff. And so because the thing is like here in Japan, the government still owns the biggest stake in JT, Japan Tobacco, which is the third largest tobacco company in the world. It's still the biggest player in Russia, even though the Japanese government promised that Japanese businesses would leave. The Japanese government itself is still profiting from the Russian market. And so anyways, JT, because it's long been owned by the government, the Japanese government is just not serious about tobacco control, and they delayed it and tried to
Do
for a
they
long
allow
time.
do they allow smoking in restaurants and
Okay, so right,
okay.
so the reason I'm proud is because this smoke free walk, which it wasn't just like a demonstration. We also visited like government ministries. I did like a little tour around Japan myself to talk to local governments. And so what happened was that activity itself, the walk, turned into a yearly thing. And then around the year 2017, the first female mayor of Tokyo, Yuriko Koike, attended. So in lieu of a walk, instead of having a walk on that year, there was like a big conference. It was big. I was there, and Yuriko Koike, the mayor of Tokyo, attended. I saw her. I actually I didn't really know who she was at the time, but now I'm super. I'm a big fan of, well, not a big fan, a fan. Let's just say that, because she was responsible for passing local regulations in Tokyo, which finally put severe restrictions on smoking in cafes and restaurants. Now, you can still do it, and there's all kinds of loopholes and exceptions. And the reason is because there was a big pushback from like Big Tobacco, which is basically the central government. But the fact is, thanks to Yuriko Koike and all these activists, including some foreign people like myself, Tokyo finally passed that thing. And then once it passed in Tokyo, what happened was it kind of spread all over the country. And one of the ways it spread is that there's a lot of chain companies in restaurants, in cafes in Japan. And so if they can't do smoking in the Tokyo area, it doesn't really make any sense for them to have it throughout the country. So they basically implemented new policies for their chain restaurants and cafes all over the country, and that really
So people aren't smoking at like Yoshinoya.
right,
That's
exactly.
good.
So
Okay,
that
that's pretty
really,
cool. Okay. I actually
yeah,
would appreciate
exactly.
like it's nice to have a spot like honestly like I like to smoke in most spots, but I could see like it's nice to have one spot that doesn't. So I could do it. Yoshinoya. Yeah, I would. That food is good, man. I don't need it to smell like cigarettes today. I want to smell the
Don't
food.
want to
It's good.
spoil it with, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's big changes, but it's still kind of there's still a lot more. There's a lot more to go. I'm not really involved anymore so much, but it's
It's pretty
still
cool.
basically
Okay.
a kind of grassroots, a local effort.
All right. So the
But
first
yeah.
half, okay, the first half of this interview is really to learn about you as an activist. So actually, the
Hmm.
second half we start to learn about like we start to share some information about activism itself. Okay. So and your vision of it.
Hmm.
So the thing is that
Hmm.
what do you think the most effective things are that activists can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think collaboration with other activists. That's I think is the most effective way to do activism. Um, so like here in Japan, for example, it's like such a group culture, right? And so even within the tobacco control movement, like the groups are really siloed, and they don't collaborate so much. And I heard like the biggest, or I don't know if the biggest, one of the most prominent tobacco control groups, like is really kind of like clubby and exclusive. Like they don't even want other tobacco trends. So I mean, look, this phenomenon is not unique to Japan. Like this is kind of a normal human thing, right? Where like one group wants to take the leadership or whatever, or personalities want to take the leadership. So that's kind of a challenge, right? And so that's why I think it's something that we humans have to work on. It's like because the more people you have in the movement, the better. So especially when you have groups that are working on the same thing, it's important for them to try to cooperate to the extent they can, to build a larger movement, and it's just more powerful with more people. So I would say that, and like nowadays, I mean, actually, I
That
think it's a
actually
lot
goes great.
easier now.
That actually goes great into my next question, which actually
Mm-hmm.
pushes. So the thing is that you may have, and by the way, with your march, that's cool that it grew to be pretty big. So you had to work with a lot of people. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people join organizations and they find that the organization isn't really representing their interests anymore. It might not be democratic. It might be. There's all kinds of things, right? What do you think are some of the best practices that organizations can have, and what kind of qualities should activists look for in an organization to make sure that things are would you recommend to make sure that they find
Oh,
good balance and
yeah.
satisfaction with their experience?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, well, off the top of my head, I'm thinking transparency is important. So make sure to let everyone know what's going on. Um, and I think it's important to meet regularly. Like trust building is really important, and of course, sort of like free and open dialogue. So, in other words, kind of have a group culture that encourages debate. In other words, as opposed to an unnamed person that we were talking about earlier today who didn't even want to listen to me.
And what are the
She's
challenges,
like the
right?
leader.
Like you're talking about,
What?
like
What? What?
what should be done, right? What are some of the challenges to
Challenges.
getting the groups to work together correctly? I mean, you had to
Challenges.
work with
Well,
some. I'm
that I
sure there
mean,
was some. Maybe they all worked together great. I don't know. Maybe you had a blessed season, but maybe there was some things you had to work out, right?
yeah, challenges. Well, I mean, I think it's just some of the normal human challenges like person, differences in personality and politics and stuff like that, and everyone wanting to be the leader, and it's just sort of normal human challenges. I think, and then sometimes it's just like for whatever reason, um, the chemistry is just it doesn't work. Like so sometimes you don't have good chemistry with someone, and it's really hard to explain why. And that I think that's a challenge. So I think one thing is I think it's important to try to like build your tolerance. In other words, like tolerance for people who might annoy you or you disagree with, or for whatever reason you have bad chemistry with. That I think is a huge challenge. And for me, I really sort of increased my tolerance level when I was living in Hawaii. So I was at this program at the East West Center, which is like this. It's like a semi-government think tank for Asia based in Hawaii, semi-federal government think tank for Asia research in Hawaii. They do all kinds of things, but anyways, it's like, but the community is amazing. Like they bring in people from all over the Asia Pacific region, and so it's super diverse. And so at that time, I was exposed to many different cultures and many different types of personalities that I had never met before, even though I'm from LA, which is a pretty diverse place. So I think in that sense, the maybe that's one of the good things about diversity. Like the more diversity you have, the higher your tolerance gets.
Okay, that actually goes actually well into the next question over here. The thing is
Mhm.
that you've actually, how long have you been an activist? Maybe now 10, 15, 20 years? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I started the tobacco control advocacy in 2007. I
Oh, it's
mean,
been some
I
time.
did some
Okay.
stuff before that, but I guess like that was when I got more active at that time.
Okay. So from then till now, it could be that big span of time, or maybe something more. Maybe recently you had like a breakthrough, right? Yeah. But have you had some kind of like perspective shift, or maybe like some type of advice, right? Maybe someone's kind of like just starting out in activism, or you know what I mean. And usually they'll have like an issue that they have like they're passionate about. It could be they're dealing with a real problem, right? So maybe you want to share anything, perspective change from when you first started, maybe something unexpected.
It's kind of like a change of my approach,
Could be
change of
anything,
approach.
right? Yeah, any perspective change, right? Yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe it was an approach. Maybe it was your understanding. Maybe it was anything. Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
Did
okay.
something
Let
change
me.
though at some point, right? Yeah, you had your journey. You had your journey, and now you've come out the other side. You're
Right,
an activist now for X amount of years, right? Any
right, right,
difference in that?
right, right. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, hmm. I mean,
If you went back to tell yourself something, would you give yourself some advice?
yeah. I mean, I guess what I can say is, I recently decided to change my career from being a full-time lawyer to being a teacher.
Okay.
I haven't made it there yet. I might continue to do law full time, but um, basically, what I'm trying to say is I realize that hey, if you're not doing what you really enjoy, you're just like wasting your time. You're wasting your life away. And I like teaching, so why not? So what I'm hoping to do is teach full time and then practice law part time. We'll see if it works out. I mean, I might wind up doing the opposite, like practicing law full time and teaching part time, which is what I've been doing for a while now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, first of all, you got to do what you enjoy in life, and I also believe that you'll probably have a greater impact if you're doing what really sort of energizes you.
Yeah, I don't know. Sam Clemens was he made millions as a writer, and then he died broke as an inventor. You know what I mean? So sometimes, yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you know,
Yeah.
but you know, you really can't resist it, right? Yeah, you're gonna do what you want to do. So I like that. Yeah. Okay. So now the thing is, you know, that's pretty. I do have like questions after this interview, but you know, they come in a certain order. So you've done great, by the way. Now, is there a way that people can follow your work? Do you have social media, have a website, anything like
Oh,
that?
oh yeah. I mean, I'm I'm on like my I think my best blogging is on LinkedIn, which is just my name.
Okay.
But my name's pretty common, so maybe you would have to type in like Peter Morris and then also keyword Myanmar or something. That might work. And then I mean, I think I'm also on Twitter, but Twitter has its own problems nowadays, and so I'm thinking to start a Substack, which will be the same name as my Twitter, which is Burma Blues.
Okay, interesting. Okay. And now that people have your information, do they have anything to look forward to? You got an event coming up, maybe that I think you moved, right? Or maybe are you still doing it again
Oh,
this year?
yeah. So actually, just while we were talking earlier, a buddy of mine is a Burmese refugee in DC. I think him and I are going to write some kind of article or letter that for people in the States to advocate. I think I actually don't know the details, but I think it might be one of these things where you send a letter to your local representative or something.
Okay. So cool. Yeah, now that they have your information, maybe they'll see you post up
Mhm.
about it or something. Yeah, that'll be cool. All right.
Yeah, yeah, because basically what I'm trying to do now is advocate, like lobby both the U.S. and the Japanese government for more to give more humanitarian aid for the crisis in Myanmar. And I think they're starting. I mean, they're starting to get the hang of it. It's just that they're so busy putting out fires in all the other places right now. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool. So interesting. All right. So cool. Nice to meet you. And that's
Yeah,
actually
you
just
too.
so you know, over 100 activists have been asked these exact same questions. So I think it's
Hmm.
interesting to just compare the answers. Now, I do have some other
Yeah.
things I want to ask you about. That's so right now you're actually involved with some Green Party stuff, right?
I guess you could say that. So I met this guy Emmanuel Pastrage here in Tokyo, and I had actually met him back in 2006 in DC. He doesn't remember, but that's okay. I messaged him again and we tried to meet up in Korea like 10 years, like around 2000. I don't know, 10 years later, and then we just met up at this New Year party here
But wait, why did you guys
in
meet up though? Like, what was that? What was that first event?
Oh, the first event was a Chinese New Year party at the GW, where I was a grad
Oh,
student.
so it was
I
just
think
like
he
an
was a
expat
teacher.
party or something?
Well, it was like for I think it was for the GW community, and he was teaching there. I was a grad student, and the one of the reasons why
Do you say
I wanted to
GW
keep,
community?
yeah, George Washington University in DC.
Okay, all right. Okay. That's
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
went to school. You both went to school there.
Well, I actually sort of dropped out of GW, but that's a different story. But at the
Interesting.
time, I was a grad student at GW in the Asian Studies program, and yeah, and so one of the reasons I wanted to keep in touch with Emmanuel is because I noticed he was like super active, basically. And so when I met him recently here in Tokyo, and I found out he was running for president, I told him, "Hey, I was a campaign manager for this Bernie-crat who's running for Congress down in Orange County, California, and maybe I can give you like my 2 cents for your campaign." And so we met up, and it turns out that we have a lot in common in terms of our position. So that's why I wanted to help him out with his campaign. And another thing is, getting back to like how he's super active. Um, the thing is, it's like I think most people are lazy, and so when you have someone who's like super active, you got to support them because not everyone is willing to put their hat in the ring like Emmanuel is, and that's why I want to support him. Now I say lazy, and I mean, I should I should qualify that by saying I'm almost everybody is passionate about something, right?
Wait, I have
They
another
might be
question for you.
active.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you a green? Like, how long have you been a green?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know if I'm. I've been to I've
So
been
it's
to
really
some
more about
green.
Emmanuel Petrarch than really being a green.
Right.
Okay,
He
that's cool.
got me involved in this movement. Yeah, yeah. But I've been to like some green gatherings in Southern California,
Okay.
because there's like a lot of sort of ties between the progressive movement and the Greens, right? And so I there's some crossover there.
Okay.
But I don't know if I've ever been like an official member of the Green Party or yeah, but
Well,
yeah,
you're in
so Emmanuel,
California.
yeah.
Okay, I heard that in California they already like that's really they're using that as the anchor to
hmm
claim, right? I don't really think this is necessarily a legitimate claim at all, but they're
hmm
trying to use that to
hmm
claim that that's why Jill Stein is the automatic, because she has California. That's one state. Like, why does that make her the nominee for the Green Party? Have you heard? She has won no primary. Like, what is this? Like, why is she then like the de facto nominee? Like, who decided to crown her? Like, I think that's weird.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that is strange. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the good impression of
Shouldn't there
Chilstein
be a
from listening to
primary?
Emmanuel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
also, right? Yeah. I think we both know that, because I actually met this Emmanuel guy as well. I actually have an interview on on my show. But wasn't Emmanuel running for president, and then shouldn't the press really have covered at least his candidacy at somehow? Like, I really can you find any interviews with him like done by any independent press?
Oh, he sent me something written by like a Korean newspaper in English
Maybe
about his
they'll pick him up.
campaign.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But I
hmm
think
hmm
honestly, Cornel West has been shielded from answering certain questions about
hmm
Green Part about his involvement with the Green Party. There's very strange
hmm
things happening with the Aurora Party in Alaska. Do you
hmm
know about that stuff too? No,
No.
it's okay. All right, there's actually I'm actually collecting just data from different areas of the country that are just reporting different irregularities that are happening within the Green Party and the process
Mm.
towards nominating a presidential candidate. And the fact of the matter is that I think that actually shout out to Green Party Alaska. I think they're having some kind of like presidential debate. I think I'm also trying to arrange something for President's Day on my channel. So I think that
hmm
there's this guy named Davi who's trying to run for the Green Party president as well. And
hmm
there's another presidential candidate like outside the Green parties. So I'm going to invite them as well. But I think that I'm working with Emmanuel to organize
mm
this event. So I think it's cool that it's kind of like this little clique of like green renegades here. I actually I made a
Great
subtitle. I don't know if you
renegade.
saw the thumbnail, but the
Great
thumbnail says
renegade.
Peter Morris, Green Renegade, or no, something like that. Yeah,
Ah,
because it was kind of like I thought you were green, man. It's all good though. Yeah, like this is yeah,
that's fine.
it's all good. Like I don't really care, but I mean, like yeah. I wonder. Yeah. So Tom here is actually he's out walking the dog and stuff. But yeah, that's the interview. Any particular anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I like talking about Myanmar, but I mean, that would it would take a long time. That's the problem. It would
No,
have
we'll
to be like
ask
a
a little
separate
bit about
interview.
Myanmar. I do want to know. Okay, so
Mm.
um, honestly, what is the situation going on like in that country like right now? Like, I'm sorry, I know it's like a big broad question,
Okay,
but
actually, I think I
just like
might
an
be able to
overview.
I think I might be able to summarize it relatively quickly. So, around 2011, 2012, the country opened up after like 60 years of military dictatorship. And basically they opened up because they were concerned about that they were getting too dependent by China, too much controlled by China. And so then after they opened up, like all these foreign investors sort of rushed in, with how do you say that, dollar signs in their eyes or something. They're like, it's like a gold rush. And then of course they realized that it wasn't this kind of paradise that they thought it would be, and that there's like huge infrastructure problems, water,
What does
and
Myanmar really
electricity.
like produce? Like we know like Taiwan for chips and stuff. We know China for manufacturing.
Mm,
What's Myanmar all about?
mm. Yeah, so it's still largely an agricultural country. Vast majority of people, well, not vast, maybe 60, 70%,
Do
60
they
or
have a port?
70% involved in agriculture. But then
Are
the
they
thing about
landlocked or do they have
Myanmar,
a port?
oh, sorry. Yeah, they do have a port.
Interesting. Okay.
Um, yeah, and so,
That's how
but
little
one
I
of the
know. I'm so
reasons,
sorry.
it's okay. But one of the reasons why there was a gold rush is because besides agriculture, they've got all kinds of natural resources. You name it, they got it. Gold, natural gas, oil, jade, copper, all
Okay.
kinds of gems, okay, like rubies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they have amber, which is like that stuff where the insects get stuck in. That's like pretty
Okay.
valuable
Quick
too.
question.
They've got
Yeah.
timber,
What?
everything.
Why did you leave Myanmar? It sounds like you liked it there.
Well, so at the time, I was actually living in Thailand, which is right next door to Myanmar, and so traveling back and forth. And I left Thailand in 2015 for a number of reasons. One of which is because I wanted help with the Burmese Revolution, right? So, but also one of the reasons I left is because I sort of saw the writing on the wall. I got the sense that the military was not willing to get out of politics, basically. And the reason is because they wanted to protect their business interests. Because what they've been doing basically since they launched their first coup in 1962, it's been like basically like raping the country of its natural resources, and not giving anything for spending any of the vast sums they make on health or education or anything. So like everyone else is impoverished. The education system was dismantled because the students were the ones doing the protests. And so you've got generations of people who have not had any kind of proper education.
Okay. So
And then
how
who,
did you
yeah.
how did you come to this information? Like, was it like talked about by the villagers, or was it like on the TV? Like, how
Oh
did you
well,
find out about this
well,
type of stuff going on?
What I did was so my first summer internship during law school was on the Thai Burma border, the Thai side, and it was for some like NGO, like Burma Lawyers Council, some law type of NGO, and
Okay.
they asked me to do an analysis of the new constitution, and right, and then I got really interested in the country, partly because. Um, it's like super diverse. Like there's many different ethnic groups, and for me, as someone who likes studying about different cultures and especially different languages, it was like a paradise. Like, and the thing about the languages in Myanmar, it's a little different than Indonesia. Okay, so Indonesia, some people say it's got like the largest number of languages in the world. Okay, fine, maybe that's true, but most of the languages in Indonesia are members of the same Austronesian language family, the same language family, Austronesian language family. But in Myanmar, you've got languages from many different language families, and that makes it more interesting and challenging to learn. So I was like, okay, I want to start learning more about Myanmar, and then I started talking to people, including this guy who ran the online Myanmar library from that border town, and he sort of pointed me in the direction of the right of the. I don't know if it was him or it might have been someone else that he introduced me to, who suggested the right books. There's like a canon of books in English that you have to read if you want to get into Myanmar. So I read most of those books, except for one, which is very poorly written.
Why do you have to read these books?
I mean, you don't have to, but it's just that's just the best way to get to know Myanmar, like the history
Okay,
and
I
politics
understand.
and all
Okay,
that.
I thought it was like some kind of required reading by the government or something. Like you had to like pass a test or
No,
something.
like indoctrination type of thing.
Maybe, yeah.
No, no. Well, maybe you could say that for Myanmar like watchers like myself.
All right, interesting. All right, cool. So, that's pretty
Indoctrinated.
much good. Yeah. So, I do have something called the Unified Platform 24 series. I think you're going to learn about that. He's just
Hmm.
new to my stuff too, so we just met each other first time today. So,
Hmm.
pretty cool. All right, so that's I'm going to end the interview here, and we're just going to go offline. All right, thanks again.